The hardest person to earn back is yourself. There's one person you have never been able to lie to. You've been avoiding them for a long time now. You see them every morning in the bathroom mirror. I... We're going to talk about the promises you've broken, not the ones you made to other people, the ones you made to yourself. And I know you've counted the cost of those before. You've added up the lost time, the years, the imagine where I'd be if I'd just started when I said I would. But that was never the real cost. The lost time is what you see. Underneath it, something quieter was happening, something you never put on the list. Every time you gave your word to yourself and didn't keep it, it cost you a little bit of something you can't buy back. It cost you a little bit of respect for yourself. And tonight, I want to talk about that, gently, because I don't think anyone ever has. Maybe you feel it most in the small hours, not the loud, obvious failures, those you can argue with. It's the quiet ones. The lights are off, the house is still, and there's this low hum, a heaviness you can't quite name. You're not sad, exactly. You're not even tired, not really. It's more like a bill that's come due, sitting somewhere in your chest. You've learned to live alongside it. You've gotten good at not looking at it directly, but it's there. And some part of you knows exactly what it is. Let me tell you about a father. He could be anyone. He might be someone you know. He might be someone you are. He comes home from work, and he is empty. Not a bad man, a tired one. He's given the best of himself to the day already, to people who aren't in this house, and there isn't much left in the tin. He wants 20 minutes, the sofa, his phone, the quiet, and his daughter meets him at the door. She's been waiting. You can tell she's been waiting, because she's got it all ready. The drawing, or the little plastic figures, or the game with half the pieces missing, and she holds it up. And she says the thing she says every night. Daddy, will you play with me? And he means to. He really does mean to. But he hears himself say it. Tomorrow, sweetheart. Daddy's had a long day. We'll play tomorrow, I promise. And she says okay, because she's good. And she believes him, because why wouldn't she? And tomorrow, he means it again. And the day after. Tomorrow. This weekend. When work calms down. Small words. Costing nothing, he thinks. Each one true. In the moment he says it. And the thing is, there's no bad night. There's no argument. No slammed door. No moment he'd remember. It's smaller than that. It's quieter than that. Because one evening, he comes home, and she doesn't meet him at the door. She's on the floor of the front room, playing on her own. Two figures in her hands, doing both voices herself. Misstate provocation. And she hears his key, and she looks up, and then she looks back down and keeps playing. She didn't ask. Not that night. Not the next. She just stopped asking. And it isn't dramatic. She's not angry. There's no seeing. She learned something quietly, the way children learn the things nobody teaches them on purpose. She learned not to expect it, because it hurts less to stop asking than to be told tomorrow one more time. Now, I didn't tell you that to make you feel like a bad parent. Most of us aren't the father in that story. And the ones who are already know and already ache about it. They don't need me for that. I told you it because of what it shows you, about how this actually works. That little girl changed how she saw her dad. Not with a decision, with an adjustment. She quietly lowered what she expected from him until it matched what he actually did. And here's what I need you to sit with. If broken promises can change the way another person sees us, what do you think they've been doing all this time to the way you see you? Because you've been that father, not to a daughter, to yourself. I'll start tomorrow. I'll deal with it next week, when work calms down. The same small words, costing nothing, you thought. But there's a part of you that meets you at the door every day, with something hopeful in its hands. And every tomorrow you hand it, it hears you, and slowly, quietly, it stops asking. That's not laziness. We settled that, you and I, last time. This is what came after the broken trust. This is the cost of it. Think of it like an account. Not money, respect, self-respect. And every promise you break to yourself is a small withdrawal. One on its own, you'd never notice. But you haven't made one. You've made thousands, over years. And here's what compounds. It's not just that the balance drops. It's that you start expecting it to. You stop being surprised when you let yourself down. It becomes the thing you quietly assume about yourself. Under everything. That's just what I do. That's just who I am. Because there's something particular about a promise you break to yourself. When you let someone else down, at least there's a witness. Someone to apologize to. Some way to make it right. But when you let yourself down, the person you wronged and the person who has to forgive are the same exhausted person. So it just sits there, unapologized for, unforgiven. And one day you look at the balance and you can't understand how it got so low. And you can't quite look at the person who let it. There's a guitar in the corner of a room. Maybe you can picture the room. Maybe you don't have to picture it because it's yours and it isn't a guitar. Maybe it's a pair of trainers, a camera, a stack of books, a language app. But let's say a guitar. Someone bought it, full of something. You remember that feeling? The day you decide this is the thing that changes everything. They didn't buy the cheap one. That was the point. This time, they were serious. They watched the videos. They learned 3 chords. Their fingertips went sore, and they were almost proud of the soreness. It felt like proof. For about 2 weeks, it was alive. It lived on the sofa, in their hands. And then, nothing dramatic. Life got loud. A hard week at work. Then another. One night, they were too tired. That was all. Just one night. And the guitar moved off the sofa, onto its stand, into the corner. And it sat down. And here's the thing I want you to notice. Months later, that guitar is still there. But it isn't a guitar anymore. Not really. It's become something else. It isn't a guitar anymore. It's become a reminder. Every single time they walk past it, it says one small thing. Quietly, You were excited once, and then you weren't. That's the cost. Sitting right there in the room, where you can see it. It was never really about the guitar. It's about who you had to become to keep walking past it. Someone who's learned to not see things. Someone who looks away in their own home. The same way you look away at the sink. And here's the part nobody warns you about. It doesn't stay with the guitar. That habit of looking away, of quietly not trusting yourself, it doesn't stay in one corner of the room. It spreads. It shows up in how you are with people. You stop making plans because some part of you isn't sure you'll show up for them either. Someone says, "We should do this." And you say, "Yeah, definitely." And you both hear it. That soft, hollow, definitely, that means neither of you will chase it. You didn't mean to pull back from people. You just stopped trusting the person making the promises. And that person makes all of them. It shows up in what you let yourself want. You start shrinking your dreams, not because they died, but so they can't hurt you. You aim lower on purpose. You call it being realistic, but underneath it's simpler and sadder. You stopped betting on yourself. You've seen your own track record, and you've quietly decided not to get your hopes up about your own life. It even shows up in how you carry yourself. That tiredness, sleep doesn't fix. The way you catch your reflection in a shop window and look away. The same way you look away at the sink. And maybe the cruelest place of all, in how much you're allowed to enjoy things. Even the good days come with a small tax now. A voice in the back of the room during the nice moment, reminding you of what you said you'd do and didn't. You can't fully rest. There's always an unpaid promise standing just behind your shoulder. None of it is dramatic. That's the whole horror of it. There's no single day it happened. Your world just gets a little smaller, a little quieter, a little more careful. Until one day, you're living inside the size of what you stopped expecting from yourself. That's the real cost. Not the guitar, not the lost time. The slow, quiet shrinking of a life to fit a person you stopped believing in. And I know how this sounds, like I'm trying to make you feel worse. I'm not. I'm telling you the true size of it, all of it, for one reason. Because you cannot rebuild what you refuse to look at. So look at it. The whole cost. Don't flinch now. And I think we get this part wrong. We think self-respect is something you lose in one big, dramatic moment. Some rock bottom. Someday, it all falls apart. It almost never happens like that. It doesn't collapse. It leaks, quietly, through 100 small taps you left running, the workout you skipped, the message you didn't send, the guitar in the corner, the tomorrow you told the person at the door. None of them felt like anything. That's exactly why it's so hard to see. Nobody loses their self-respect on purpose. They lose it the way the father lost his daughters. One small, reasonable, forgivable tomorrow at a time. Self-respect is built the same way it's lost. One decision at a time. There's an old bricklayer, 40 years on the tools, hands like the bricks themselves, and there's a young lad working under him, And the young lad is fed up because the work feels like nothing. Think you lay a brick. You look at it. It's one brick. You come back tomorrow and lay another one. And it's still just bricks. Back to his stringus in Overse. And one afternoon, the young lad says it out loud. What's the point? Nobody's ever going to notice this. And the old man doesn't even stop working. He just says, nobody notices one brick. But after 10 years, everybody notices the house. And that's the other half of the twist. Because if self-respect leaks one decision at a time, it also builds one decision at a time. You have been laying bricks your whole life, every single day. Some days, a brick for the house you want. Some days, a brick against it. You never stopped building. None of us do. The only question, the only one, is what? Which brings us back to the mirror. The one person you can't lie to. You know why you don't hold your own eyes anymore. Not really out of shame. It's simpler than that. It's because that person in the glass has been keeping the account this whole time. They were there for every tomorrow, every guitar, every brick. They know the exact balance. And here is the hard, clean truth of it. Nobody else can fix this one. Your friends can love you. Someone can believe in you. But no one can walk over to that mirror and put the respect back for you. They can't make a single deposit in that account. Only you hold the pen. Because of everyone you've ever had to win back, the boss, the friend, the person you let down, the hardest person to earn back is yourself. I know that sounds heavy, but stay with me, because it's actually the best news in this whole film. And I'll show you why. Here's why it's good news, that only you can rebuild it, because it means you don't need anything you don't already have. You don't need to be discovered. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait for the right week, or the right mood, or the version of you that finally feels ready. You need one kept decision. That's the first brick. That's the first deposit back into an account that's been draining for years. Because trust isn't something you feel. It's something you prove. And I won't lie to you and say it fills up fast. It doesn't. It fills the same slow way it emptied. But something changes almost immediately. And it isn't the balance. It's the sound of that voice at the door. The first time you say you'll do a small thing, and you do it, that voice goes quiet for a second, and it looks at you differently, the way a daughter would. If her father knelt down one night and said, "Come on then, let's play," and meant it. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. And it's different from last time. Last time, I asked you for one small promise you couldn't fail. Tonight, I'm asking for something braver. I want you to think of one promise you've been avoiding. You already know what it is. It came to mind 3 stories ago, and you flinched away from it. That one. Write it down. Not in your phone. On paper. And put it where you'll see it tomorrow morning. On the mirror. By the kettle. Somewhere your eyes have to land. And then, keep it. Within the next 24 hours. Not a new life. One kept promise. To the person in the mirror. One brick. Laid on purpose. One deposit in your own hand. That's the whole challenge. No one else will know you did it. That's rather the point. This one was never for them. And I want to tell you what happens. Not all at once, not in some montage, but if you keep laying the bricks, one ordinary morning, weeks from now, a Tuesday, nothing special about it. You'll be at that sink again. Same bathroom, same tired light, same running water, and you'll go to look down. The way you always do. The way you did at the start of this film. And this time, you won't. This time you'll look up, and you'll hold your own eyes. 1 second longer than you can tonight. My delivery's dirty taste of in trouble. You won't announce it. You might not even notice the day it happens. But something will have quietly come back into the room. The thing that leaked out, one tap at a time, starting to come back. One decision at a time. Not because you became someone new, because you became someone whose word means something again, to the only witness who was ever really keeping score. You don't earn self-respect by becoming perfect. You earn it every time your actions match your words. So tonight, you don't have to fix everything. You couldn't if you tried. Just lay one brick, keep one promise. Look up for 1 second longer than you did yesterday. If this helped you tonight, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to someone who's been walking past their own mirror. Because strength grows when it's shared. Nobody else can rebuild your self-respect, but nobody can stop you except you. No one rises alone. Rise together. Rise within.